All right, welcome back to Trading Rolly. Got a great show for you today. We're going to go back to an old format. I hope you're excited. Primarily focused on Bitcoin, more of a show format. We'll start out with a couple headlines, look at the overall market, fear and greed, that type of stuff. Move into a Bitcoin chart breakdown because, I am a technical analysis. The chart does the speaking for me most often, and then we'll have an altcoin of the day at the end. So please leave a comment. Let me know how you like the new format. I'll try to keep these videos still brief and more consistent, mostly every day. I say that now. We will see. So go ahead, hit that subscribe, tick the bell for notifications, like all that jazz. All right, rolly roll. Let's get into it. Looking at the market. Bitcoin, it's been mostly sideways, pretty boring. Past 24 hours, you can see the majors are mostly in the red. You can see along here. The only green is Tether. About 2% down on Ethereum, 4% on Polkadot, 3% on Chainlink, 4% on Litecoin. Mostly some consolidation. We'll take a look at Bitcoin's chart. And we'll take a look at maybe Ethereum for the altcoin of the day. We'll start with the most popular altcoin. Then we'll get more random going down the road in the future. So the crypto fear and greed index still at a 95, which, a little surprising because Twitter seems pretty dead. So extreme greed, I don't know where all the metrics are coming from. We've been at this extreme greed level for a while. This is the all-time chart. The last time we were up here was June 2019, which called the top. But we've been consolidating here. The thing is, if you look at the 1 year, this fear and greed looks pretty identical to the actual Bitcoin price. So if Bitcoin breaks through 20K, goes higher, where does the fear and greed index go? To a 99? There's not much more room up for the fear and greed to go, only room to go down. So we'll have to see, how that plays out. I wouldn't judge everything on this alone. So we'll just keep this in mind. We'll check on this each day. All right, so moving on. Let's take a look. We looked at the market. Let's take a look at a headline. Citi. So what is this? Citigroup or Citibank? Citibank downgrades MicroStrategy stock after bold Bitcoin bet. Let me get a sip of water for this one. I saw this on Twitter yesterday. Basically, MicroStrategy, big bull himself, Michael Saylor. We all know who Michael Saylor is this year. Been putting huge bets on Bitcoin. And basically the news yesterday was MicroStrategy is his publicly traded company. You can buy, stock on MicroStrategy. They're going to sell $400 million worth of convertible notes. This is much like a bond, which is much like a loan. So basically he's going to take a $400 million loan to buy Bitcoin. And he tells everyone that's the plan. He's going to sell these notes so that he can buy Bitcoin. And it will be for MicroStrategy, right? It's a corporate bond. So it's in the best interest of MicroStrategy, which is very interesting. And I mean, we saw that Michael Saylor, they bought, additional millions and millions, I can't remember the amount, at 19,400 average base. So he's buying like at the very top. And now he wants to take out loans or bonds in the corporate world, but it's basically a loan. He wants to take these out to buy more Bitcoin. So it shows how bullish this one individual is. And you'll see people on Twitter, oh, wow, this is amazing. It's just a really big bet that this one guy has. And, you've heard, don't take out credit card loans. Don't use your Visa. Don't max out credit cards to buy Bitcoin. Don't sell your house and, mortgage your house, blah, blah, blah for Bitcoin. This guy is doing a $400 million loan bet. I mean, it's no different than maybe a large, leverage play. When you do margin leverage trading, you're also borrowing money there too. So it's kind of a leverage play. But it's interesting that Citibank today downgraded MicroStrategy stock because, it's no longer a company based on a product and revenue. This company, this stock is basically a bet on Bitcoin, which I think, it could be a good bet, but it's also a very risky bet, especially for traditional markets. So I'm not surprised to see this. Moving on. Moving on. Good news, total crypto trading volume, 348 billion. So this was a 125% increase from October. This was also a new monthly all-time high. It's just good to see this much volume entering the crypto space. Yeah, it's trade volume, but more trade volume means more hodlers, more long-term investments. And we're going to need billions and billions and billions and trillions to see that $1 million Bitcoin price. Okay, so moving in the right direction. And then just interesting to note, CoinGecko, which I am using now, no affiliation, not paid advertisement, in October had 20.6 million visitors trying to flip the coin market cap, the front page of crypto, which had 29 million. So CoinGecko is moving on up. A lot of people have switched over. CoinMarketCap was bought by Binance. So people are saying that it cannot be an independent and impartial site if it's owned by Binance. So you have even more people moving over to CoinGecko. Okay, so 7 minutes to go through the intro and some headlines. So let's jump right into Bitcoin. Guys, I'm testing out the waters on this. Maybe I'll be able to tighten it up, or maybe you guys enjoy this. We'll see where we end up by the end of the video time-wise. Let's jump right over to the Bitcoin chart. Hit that like for me. We've stalled out. You can see on the weekly near all-time highs. We have hit technical all-time highs. Just barely above the 2017. Still trying to break that 20K resistance. It's a psychological resistance, but look at this rally too. I mean, just from this point here, let's say 5,200 to current price is a 250% rally. So we have a 250% rally at the all-time high. It would make sense to consolidate, stall out, even have a pullback. So we'll look at some potential pullback targets, but it is good to see that we are consolidating at this level. When we hit our previous top here, you can see the wicks on the weekly. It was a big blow off top. Liquidations, both directions. I mean, this candle here was a 33% candle to the upside that wicked all the way back down. That was back down to about a 20% drop there. And then you had another one back up, back down, back up. I mean, you're talking about 20% swings. It was messy. We haven't seen that. So it is good to see that we are, consolidating here. Another thing is this weekly candle did close above that previous high. I'm sure you've seen that elsewhere. This candle close on the weekly was 18,953. And that's why if you've been watching this channel, you've seen I've had the horizontal 18,950 for some time. And we closed above it. So that was what we were looking for. The next step was a close above that level. You got a close at 19,380, new weekly close high. But the volume has been decreasing, and it's pretty low. So we'll have to see. The last time, it kind of feels like this back here at the end of August. You can see the decreasing volume, and then you had a sell-off, and then we bounced. So when there's a lack of buyers, and right now there is a lack of buyers, sometimes price will just fall back down to create some liquidity. So it'll dump down, and then you have big buyers step in because maybe they don't want to buy at 19,000, but maybe they'll buy at 16,000. If they don't want to buy at 16,000, I think a lot of people will buy at 14,000. Okay, so sometimes it has to dip down to have big buyers step back in, create another FOMO rally, and move higher. We don't have to dump down, but if we do, 16,150 was a horizontal of interest using previous weekly candle closes. So I had one above there. That was all-time high. We had one here, and then we have 13,880 was the wick high on 2019. So those were the major levels I've been monitoring. So if we dip down, maybe there, but when I move to the lower time frames, you'll see we're just consolidating and waiting. So potentially a big buyer could step in. It's all in the bull's court. We're in an uptrend. We're macro bullish. If a bull steps in and breaks key resistance, you could see other FOMO buyers follow suit. Otherwise, if no one wants to step in right now, we probably will see a bit of a pullback. But in general, higher highs, higher lows, we're moving up. Great long-term investment. If you're trading intraday, it can be a little trickier trying to guess every move every hour. Okay, so let's just look at the indicators, do a breakdown, look at our moving averages, stochastics, RSI, and then I'll do the altcoin of the day. All right, hit that like, hit that like. So horizontals are my favorite, and in fact, I'm going to get rid of this. I can always add it back, but I'm a buyer at 14K should we ever get to that point, and I would like to see us flip this resistance as support. If we break below 14K, we can add those horizontals back and see where we might bounce. But I would like to see a bounce there if we don't bounce from 16K. And guys, we already saw the bounce there. This was a nice drop. That was what, a 15% drop we already saw, and we bounced from the 16K already. All right, moving on, looking at the moving averages. Well above all weekly moving averages, well above that yellow 21 EMA, above the 21 EMA on the weekly is a bull market. So we broke above it here. You bounced off of it there. We stalled out, pulled back, found support on the yellow 21 EMA, and rallied hard. So that level is 13,971. I showed you the horizontal at 13,880. That's why I'm saying 14K, I'd be a buyer given the opportunity. Your pink 10 simple, sometimes, you know, it hasn't shown too much. It hasn't governed price too much on this rally, but you can see it did bounce there, and on the lower time frames, the pink 10 simple often is great for a trending move on the daily or the 4-hour. We'll look at that. But that level of support is at 15,600. Okay? So these are your macro support levels right there. Your stochastic. The stochastic hinting across down. It has not confirmed. So depending on how this weekly candle closes, could be a signal, okay? You know, so if we close higher, this won't close, or it won't cross down. If we close lower, this will cross down. That could be the temporary local top. It's possible. We are high, looking at a cross down. Your RSI is overbought. The previous, excuse me, it's around an 80 right now. The last time we were at this level, we did have our pullback in 2019. But you can see when we are on a real bull run, the 2016, 2017, we went all the way higher, all the way to like a 90. So we could bounce and go to a 90 and then maybe see a rejection. You can see each time it got to the 90, you had quite a dip here. And that lined up with 30% drops. There was a 30% drop there, there, and there. So we'll see. Could we get a 30% drop? Where would a 30% drop be from our high? Let's go down. 30%. Wow, 13,880. So about 14K. 14K, I'm a buyer. That would be a 30% drop. We have lots of confluence of supports. We're at a overbought point on the weekly RSI. So it would make sense if we dropped. And 30% would be a great discount on an asset that I am long-term bullish. All right, let's move down to the daily. On the daily, you're looking at bearish divergence on the RSI daily and the stochastics. So your price is moving higher, but your RSI is moving lower, and even on the stochastic. So that shows you that the strength of this move has been decreasing. Now, if price does happen to find that buyer and then the RSI breaks this downtrend on the daily, you could see a move higher, okay? So you'll, for further confirmation, you want to see that daily break this downtrend, and you can see it respecting it pretty well there, okay? Daily RSI. Break above there would coincide with probably a breakout to the upside and your daily stoke looking to cross down. All right, so a pullback wouldn't be that crazy. Anything down to 16K. So let's look at our moving averages. Yellow 21 EMA support, 18,300. So I would say you would need to see a daily close below the yellow 21 EMA to give me more confidence for 16,000. So your blue 50 simples at 16,200. That could be a support if you get a daily close below the yellow 21 EMA at 18,300. You can see that 10 simple, I was talking about that earlier. The pink 10 simple was great support on this massive move here. It held support the whole way. So on a nice trending move on lower time frames, you can use that pink 10 simple. And once it was lost, it bounced off the 21 EMA. So currently still bullish here, guys, but the signs of exhaustion, this hard word to say, exhaustion, are there, okay? So they are there, guys. Let's look at our 4 hour just to check out lower time frame. Your 4 hour, okay, so your 4 hour is below these moving averages. You still have support. This is your light green 200 EMA and your dark green 200 simple. They're kind of basically the same on the 4 hour, around 17,500. So that could be a level of interest. But your 4 hour stoke looking to cross up. We've been consolidating. Hence, the low volume, boring price action. And we've been chopping around that 18,950 level. We could even draw something like this. I was using, before this happened, I was using my wicks here. We broke above, but nothing happened. So the problem with diagonals is you can just adjust them. So we'll do that. And on this one, instead of that, we're going to just do this, okay? We'll give both sides the benefit of the doubt. So we're looking at, sort of a symmetrical triangle. You can draw it different ways. If you wanted to do it like that, maybe we could do that. There's 1, 2, 3 touches using your wicks. Some people might use maybe we could use this wick here. Do it like that. You can use the wicks, you can use the candle bodies, and that's why there's always the discrepancy. So we'll do something like this. That 4-hour stoke looking to cross up. This was from previous. So on a 4-hour, we could also draw maybe a downtrend like that. And you could look for price to break this downtrend on the 4-hour RSI. We need that volume to step in. Okay, so that's what we're looking at, the lower time frames. I have this drawn here. This was from last week after we crashed a bit. We had a resistance. That was a support flipped resistance. This is at 17,865. So we'll just keep that there. We can make that green because it hopefully would flip as support. All right, 20 minutes. I might have to move faster on the next videos. Just testing the waters. Let's look at Ethereum real quick. And we'll be back the next day. All right, so moving out to Ethereum's weekly chart. I've been using horizontals on pretty much, well, every chart. Unless you're trading low time frames, you don't have to get so like in the weeds with your indicators on every time frame. A lot of these coins I'm just holding. I'm not even trading. I'm just holding them for long term. And when you have a more passive approach to investing or swing trading, the horizontals give me great levels of resistance and support. And using those, I have my targets. Okay, so we had a resistance here at that wick, and then you found a little resistance, and that was at 480 approximately. We broke that level, and we hit a level of interest. It was 620. I was using the candle bodies right here, and then you had a bounce there. Maybe on the daily it was showing even more confluence, I'm not sure, but I had used that level, so there was, you could see that peak there. I don't know, it was just a level that I had drawn out like a couple months ago as a target, and we hit that 620 exactly. And then when we bounced off, we retested this previous resistance as support. So we hit the 620, we came all the way to 480, and we bounced off of it. Boom, boom. And if you'd watched any of my videos in the last 2 months, when we were here, I had these levels drawn out. So it's awesome to see the levels respected. And it gives you some hope as a technical analysis. Okay, and even after that bounce, we backed off at 620 exactly. Wicked above but closed below on the daily, and then we rejected again here. All right, so that's like some macro levels I'm looking at. If we can break the 620, which to me Ethereum 620 would be like Bitcoin 20K. If we can break that level, 800 is the previous peak there. That would be your next target. And ultimately your all-time high at $1,400 Ethereum. And guys, there's no reason Ethereum can't make it to that level eventually. What kind of timetable? It depends on Bitcoin, honestly. If Bitcoin has a 3-month pullback, Ethereum will as well, most likely. If Bitcoin breaks 20K and we just continue to pump, then Ethereum will also pump. So looking at the weekly, let's do some indicators and we'll wrap it up. The weekly is still rising, so we don't have that cross down yet, but we're putting in a red weekly candle. It's middle of the week on Ethereum. We'll have to see how this weekly candle closes. Bitcoin was hinting at the cross down. Ethereum has not, but Bitcoin has been leading the charge. So we'll have to see, either Bitcoin takes a dump to the lower and the altcoins follow, or if Bitcoin just keeps going sideways, altcoins could decide to do their own thing for a week or two. You never know. All right, they do have a mind of their own at times. So your Stoch's still up, your RSI kind of topping, same place we topped previously. Potential bearish divergence on the Ethereum weekly RSI. Looking at your moving averages, above all moving averages, similar to Bitcoin, we are separated from them. They do like to stick nearby. You can see on this breakout back here in 2017, chopped sideways and bounced off. They don't like to deviate too far, and we are kind of deviated, hence the stall. So do we come back down, or do we go sideways and let the moving average catch up? Current support 477, and your yellow 21 EMA on the weekly 428, lining up with that 420 using the horizontals. Let's go to the daily. On the daily, your Stoch is coming down, and you do have that yellow 21 EMA providing support at 558. A daily close below 558 could trigger down to 480. And then, 420 was that horizontal we've been looking at. Looking at this with the naked eye, the naked eye, it does look a bit like some type of formation could be forming here. Are we looking at a ascending triangle that could form, where you have a flat top and a rising support trend line? That would be bullish to see. So we'll have to keep our eye on what happens where we bounce, if we do come back down lower or not. Just, a hypothetical situation. Your 4-hour low and possibly crossing up. You did put in a little doji possible reversal there. 30 minutes left in the 4-hour. We'll see if we can break higher. That 4-hour RSI can cross up, coinciding with that Bitcoin 4-hour crossing up. So Ethereum and Bitcoin charts looking pretty similar. All eyes on Bitcoin, in my opinion. It's been 27 minutes. All right. I've been rambling, but not really. There's just so much information. So anyways, guys, if you stuck through, hit that like, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Maybe I can make these videos. I'd like to make them under 20 minutes. So I don't know how I go through the news, Bitcoin chart, and an altcoin under 20 minutes. Maybe I'll just have to be more brief and do this more often, and then I won't have to do the same repetitive explaining over and over again. All right, rolly roll. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. I don't know what time yet. I know I have some things to do with the wife. A lot of priorities, but we'll get one done tomorrow. I promise.